Hello and welcome to the Veg Cookbook. Today we're going to make some wonderful tofu quesadilla. These are packed with protein and vegetables and a great hit with the kids here at the Veg Cookbook household. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. So you want to take a heavy bottom pan and add about a tablespoon of olive oil. And to this, I'm just going to add a dash of asafoetida powder, or you may know this as hing powder. This step is optional. I just like the flavor. If you don't have hing powder at hand, you can skip this step. And to this, I'm going to add about a cup of grated carrots. I have the heat at medium-high to high. And then I'm going to add a cup of chopped green peppers. What we're trying to do here is just to get the moisture out of the veggies. We don't want to overcook the veggies. And then I'm going to add about a cup of cut celery. Let's give this a quick mix. And I now increase the heat to high. I just want to cook the veggies so that the moisture is evaporated. I don't want to overcook the veggies and make them mushy. The idea is just to have the veggies cooked enough, but not make the quesadilla soggy with the moisture inside. So we'll get this going for about 1 or 2 minutes, and the moisture is evaporating a little bit. I'm now adding a cup of finely chopped zucchini here. You can add any types of vegetables that you have at hand. I usually add, spinach or beans or black beans. I've even added radish a few times. So whatever you have at hand, just use those. Just make sure you don't use vegetables that ooze out a lot of moisture, because that can make this process a little bit difficult, because the inside of the quesadilla might get soggy. So we'll give this a quick mix and let this sit in high heat for about a minute or two more, and then we'll add our tofu. So it's been a couple of minutes, and here I'm taking firm tofu, a block of firm tofu, about 400 grams. You probably don't want to use silken tofu for this one. Extra firm or super firm is just fine. I'm just using regular tofu here. And I'm going to use my hands here to crumble up the tofu into the vegetable mixture. And like with the vegetables, I don't want to cook the tofu too much. I just want all of the moisture gone. If you would like, you can probably use a paper towel to squeeze out the moisture before you crumble up the tofu. I'm not going to bother with that because I'm just using the heat to evaporate the moisture here anyway. So we'll mix everything together and then let this sit on high heat for about 2 or 3 minutes or until the whole mixture seems kind of dried up a little bit. And then we'll add our spices. So it's been a minute or so. I just wanted to show you, there's still a lot of moisture that's oozing out. If you see a lot of this, don't worry. Just keep the mixture going at high heat and keep stirring once in a while. Now that our mixture is drying out a little bit, I'm starting to add our spices. I'll start with a tablespoon of nutritional yeast, because, well, why not add additional nutrients? But also, this also gives a very nice cheesy flavor to the stuffing inside, so I like to add this when I can. You can add any kind of spices that you want. If you like a spicier version of things, you can add chili powder, paprika, chili flakes. You can even add cumin powder or coriander powder. Today I'm just going to use about half a teaspoon of ginger powder here. I'm also adding about 1/4 of a teaspoon of ground black pepper. So at this point, I just want to give the mixture a good mix and keep stirring, because I don't want things to stick to the bottom until I feel like the moisture is evaporated. I'll add salt later. I just don't want to add salt now and have more of the moisture ooze out. So I'll let this mix this and let this sit for about 2 or 3 more minutes. As you can see here, most of the moisture is gone, but I just want to make sure that this is as dry as can be before putting our quesadilla together. So it's now been a couple of minutes, and I said don't walk away and keep stirring. And of course, I walked away, and so things are starting to stick to the bottom a little bit. But don't worry. I think the quesadilla, the tofu mixture is quite dried out at this point. I'm adding just about half a cup of chopped coriander leaves. This just gives a very nice flavor to the quesadilla filling. And then finally, I'll add salt to taste. And we're pretty much done with our vegetable and tofu mixture, and we'll now move on to putting our quesadilla together. Just give this a final mix, and let's move on to the quesadilla. Now for putting the quesadilla together, take a non-skillet, take a non-stick pan. I'm just using a cast iron pan here and spraying it with a little bit of cooking spray. And I'm gonna use whole wheat tortilla. You can use any kind of tortilla that you want. I'm using one whole wheat tortilla and spreading some shredded cheese on top of that. Now again, for the cheese, you can use whatever type of cheese that you want. If you're a vegan, you could use vegan cheese, and this recipe would work just fine. I'm using a Mexican blend here. You can also make this with just mozzarella or any other kind of cheese that you have at hand. So put as little or as much cheese as you want. I tend to put less cheese and more of the stuffing. So on top of the cheese, I'm adding at the center of the tortilla, I'm adding some of the vegetable and tofu mixture we made earlier. I add it to the center and then just kind of gently spread it out towards the ends. And again, try to use less in the beginning to see how things work, and then perhaps stuff it with more. This recipe came about because my kids love quesadilla, and I just wanted to incorporate some protein and veggies into the meal. So I tend to add more of the stuffing and less of the cheese, but you can use whatever ratio you would like. So once the stuffing's been added, as you can see, I sprinkled more of the cheese on the top, and then this is the tricky part, I'm just using my hand on the top to flip the quesadilla around. This one got maybe a bit too, a little bit burnt, not so bad, but you probably want to make this bit more golden brown. You want to keep the heat to low in the beginning because the quesadillas or the tortillas get burned pretty quickly. So we want to let the tortilla sit on the low heat for about a minute or 2 minutes on each side, depending on how low or how high your heat is. Just make sure it's golden brown on both sides, and then take it out and you're done. So I'm going to continue making other quesadilla. This recipe makes about 3 or 4 whole quesadillas, which serves about 4 to 6 people. So I'm going to cut up the quesadilla with a pizza knife here. I voiced over this video so you can't hear the crunch when I'm cutting through the quesadilla, but it's really crunchy on the outside and it's soft on the inside with the stuffing. And there we have it. This is our wonderful tofu quesadilla. This is quite a staple in our household. I hope you try this recipe. If you do try it, I would love to hear your version in the comment section below. If you like more recipes like this, please subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching. See you next time.